Greetings! I am Sean Redman, aka the cheesily named Darth Shawn, and for the first time here on this channel, I'm going to review something that is not Star Wars. I'm going to start reviewing movies, and my first one will be The Good Dinosaur. For the first time in their history, Pixar is bringing out 2 movies this year. The first one was Inside Out, had a whole lot of press, has been really popular, one of the top movies of the year in almost every list. And the second one, The Good Dinosaur. And it's kind of been not really panned, not really hated, but middle review, 77% Rotten Tomatoes, has not made Pixar money, only $77 million domestically going into Star Wars week is pretty weak for a Pixar movie. That being said, I personally really enjoyed Good Dinosaur. I really felt like it is what makes Pixar so great, is they can take a simple story, a boy and his dog, turn it on his head, and tell a great story about a kid who has to grow up, has to go through a lot, has to face his fears, and come out on top. And it is a really touching story on so many elements. And that's what makes Pixar so wonderful, is they can take these sort of things and get you to feel. I really felt for Arlo, they don't really clarify, Brachiosaurus, Brontosaurus type long neck dinosaur. I kept trying to do Land Before Time references while watching the movie. I'm like, oh, they're a long neck, or oh look, they're a sharp tooth, or those sort of things. And that was cool. And there are elements where I wished it was kind of Land Before Time-esque. But even then, it's still one of the better dinosaur movies we've gotten. The idea being that dinosaurs did not go extinct. And instead, we're in kind of this alternate, it's still prehistoric times, but this alternate world, at least it felt like prehistoric times because they're inhuman, this alternate world where dinosaurs are kind of evolved enough that they're doing a lot of stuff that humans have done. For example, Arlo grows up on a farm. His family farms and grows corn and grain, and everyone has a task, and they continue to do it. Some people they're digging, they're watering, and they grow the grain. And this human, who is basically the dog of this movie, Spot is the name that he's given, starts stealing grain, and that sets us on this adventure that sees Arlo losing family members, that sees him separated from his family and having to get back. And there's just great growth of Arlo. He's a little bit of a cliched character. We've seen it before, kind of the runt of the litter, unable to do what is expected of his macho family in a lot of ways. His dad is this strong farmer who has done all these things. His brother is kind of dumb but strong. His sister is very smart and good at what she does, and his mom is very caring. So you have all the kind of the cliched roles, but they do a great job of allowing us to care about these characters, even though they are kind of cliched. They give us the emotional beats that allows us to care. When Arlo loses his family member, it is very hard to watch. It's touching. It's very hard, and the whole family goes through it. When he is separated, you do feel for him, and you want him to get back. As he grows, and with Spot, his dog human, you just feel for it. And that is the thing that makes this movie, in my opinion, really good, is the emotional beats just hit so well in just classic Pixar fashion. That being said, this movie is not without its problems. It is not tremendously original. Now, I will say this, being cliche, being unoriginal is okay if done well, and I think they did it well. It still isn't a tremendously original story. We've seen it a bunch of times. A boy and his dog get lost in the wilderness and have to find their way back. Many movies have been done about this. None of the characters feel tremendously fresh. I continue with that. They're good characters, especially when we get to the T-Rexes, who are my favorite characters, and I'll talk about a little bit more on that later. But none of the characters really seem... There are some quirky characters and weird, but while it has the great environment and everything around, the characters don't separate themselves. Why people love Finding Nemo is not just because the ocean is incredible and everything you see in it looks so real and amazing, but all the characters are unique and you can remember them. not many of the characters are tremendously unique. Yeah, you have some bad guys, you have some wrestlers, you have some T-Rexes who are helpful, you have your main good characters, you have a weird Triceratops type creature, and you have the humans that are involved in it. But no one really is tremendously unique. We've seen all these characters before. That being said, it's still very well done, and so I can overlook a lot of these things. The movie, I felt like, could have gone a couple of different directions and still would have been just as good. I think they played it kind of safe with a lot of these things, and I would have loved to see him interact with more of the dinosaurs. I felt like we got so much of the world in this movie, and it is gorgeous. The mountains, the streams, the rocks, the rain, just everything looks so real. I have seen documentaries on the Earth that look faker than this movie. It is a sight to behold. It's one of the most beautiful movies I've ever seen in terms of environments. But I would have liked to see more of interacting in this world. I would have liked to see kind of more of the dinosaurs. That's why I bring up Land Before Time earlier, is Land Before Time, what makes it such a great movie is we get to see these interactions. These kids grow up in interactions with it as they have to become what they need to be. And that core is there. Arlo is a character that is separated from his family. Land Before Time. There's death that happens. Land Before Time, but he gets so much more interactions and so many more characters in Land Before Time. Why Littlefoot is such a great character. Arlo is a good character and one that you feel for. He's definitely a very enjoyable character, and there's a lot of good things to him. But he doesn't have kind of that interactions, and Pixar does a good job of having him a boy and his dog, and the interactions between him and Spot. I just would have liked to see more of the interactions with the world. I would have liked to see more dinosaurs, maybe more different humans, maybe other things, but it's more about a survival movie, and that's the way they decided to go with it. And in all honesty, while I would have liked more, I'm okay with the direction they went in that. I couldn't do the video without mentioning my favorite part, the T-Rexes. I love the direction they went with it. It's easy to make the T-Rexes the villains. It's easy to make them Sharptooth and this villain that just kind of, is trying to kill them. They didn't go that way. They made the T-Rexes these cattle herding, Old West talking, just hilarious characters that were done well, in the same way that the sharks are done in Finding Nemo. They have like this, as they're herding the sheep, they're fake Monty Python riding on horses, going through it, and it's just the best characters really are these T-Rexes. The main one being voiced by Sam Elliott, and he does a wonderful job, as always, as a cowboy. He is destined to always be a cowboy, it seems like. And it works so perfectly as he helps, really all three of the T-Rexes help Arlo grow up and learn to face his fears in so many ways. And they're just, when that's, the moment you get them in, and from about the 15 minutes they're in screen time, it's the best part of the movie. And it just feels so genuine, so fresh, in a movie that, as I said before, doesn't feel tremendously fresh in a lot of ways. This little subset of it really does feel fresh. This is new take on the T-Rexes, because always the T-Rexes are the villains, or maybe you get in Jurassic World the end where they're kind of the heroes. But the T-Rexes are the anti-heroes, the heroes, but you don't really get this heroic sense as you do in this movie, and that was a really fresh take on the usual dinosaur movie, and I really, really appreciated that. All in all, I really liked The Good Dinosaur. It has flaws. It's not tremendously original, and so that does hold it back from being one of the best in Pixar's growing catalog. That being said, still, go check it out. It's going to be still in theaters for a little while. I know Star Wars is coming out, and that the album The Chipmunks is coming out, which will probably take some theaters away. So if you can, this weekend, go ahead and take your kids. Go ahead and watch The Good Dinosaur. It'll be fun. It adds a lot of emotion. It's a good time to just be able to think through a lot of things. It's a very, very fun movie to sit down and watch, and I really don't think you'll regret taking the time to do it. So I really do recommend The Good Dinosaur. So what do you guys think? Have you seen The Good Dinosaur? Are you interested in The Good Dinosaur? Let me know in the comments below. As always, like this video, subscribe to the channel. And I am Shawn Redman, aka the cheesily named Darth Shawn, and may the Force be with you, always.